Africa, most of whom are black, who are not in that position. They will never be able to afford a plane ticket, and their situation is often very desperate. And those are actually the people that our attention in terms of public policy should be focusing on. It should not be the Saki Makozomas who I wrote about in that letter in Business Day, or the Cyril Ramaphosa's, or the Patrice Motsepes, or the bosses of the Black Business Council, all of whom are wealthy and have benefited from racial preferment policies like BEE, and so naturally defend those policies. But what they are not doing, and which I think is indefensible, is that through their communication, they're making us look away from the 85% of the black population who are not benefiting from BEE, and worse than that, are being negatively impacted by BEE. So BEE as a restraint on growth in South Africa, as a restraint on service delivery, as a restraint on government performance, is affecting poor black people the most. Think about this. If you're middle class in South Africa, you might have a private security service, so you don't have to rely on the police, which doesn't work very well. You've got your whatever security company looking after you. If you're well off enough in South Africa, if you're middle class, you don't go to a state hospital. You've got private medical aid. You go to a private clinic. If you're middle class, you send your kids to a private school, maybe not to a state school. If you're middle class or well enough off, you've got solar panels on your roof. You don't depend on Eskom or City Power here in Johannesburg. Maybe you put a borehole in your garden, or you've got water tanks, so you're not dependent on the municipality. And all of these are things you can only do if you're earning enough money to pay for them.
Yeah,
which
you can afford them.
Can't.
Yeah,
exactly. Whereas if you're living, in an in an informal settlement somewhere, and you're fully dependent on state services. Like the only services you can use are public schools, public hospitals, the police to keep you safe, which it doesn't do very well, and you are subjected to widespread failure in public service delivery, which is linked to racial preferment policies. And that is why we think that those policies are actually really, really harmful. It is time for them to be scrapped, and for us to focus on producing high levels of economic growth, which is the only thing that can address poverty and joblessness. And it may increase or decrease inequality, but that actually doesn't matter so much. We really have to address poverty and joblessness as a primary focus.
Yeah, because you write in your letter that real transformation will come not from entrenching racial preferment, but from creating the conditions for an inclusive growth. These would be high fixed investment, rising productivity, plummeting, unemployment, and expanding opportunity. Right.
Yes.
Now,